we're going to look at writing decimal numbers using words. To be able to write a decimal number in words, we need to understand place value. So let's start with writing a whole number in words. Each digit in a whole number has a unique place value which determines its actual value within the number. So let's look at this. If we have a whole number and we're asked to write the whole number 123 or 123 in words, we want to find the actual value. And to find the actual value of a digit, you multiply the place value by the digit's face value. So let's look at this example of 1, 2, 3, and we're going to look at how we're going to write this in words. So let's start here with our 3. Our 3 is in the ones place. And so in order to find the value of our 3, we take our 3, the face value of our digit here, and we multiply it by 1, which is its place value in the ones place. So the actual value of this 3 is 3 times 1, which equals 3. And then we look here at our 2, and we see that our 2 is in the tens place. And so to find the value of our 2, we're going to multiply the 2, the digit here, by its place in the tens place. So we're going to take the 2 and we're going to multiply it by 10. And the value of this 2 is actually then 2 times 10 equals 20. And then we're going to move over here to our 1. And our 1 is in the hundreds place. And so to find the value of our 1, our digit 1 here, we multiply it by its place value. So by 100. And the value of this 1 is 100. So if we take the 3 of these and add them together, we see that we have 100 plus 20 plus 3, which gives us our total value of 123. Now, if we're going to write that then in words, we would write 123. Oops. And our 1, 2, 3 in words is equal to 123. Let's look at an example now of writing a decimal number using words. So we have a decimal here of 0.125, and we're asked to write that in words. Decimals also have place values that are very important when writing these in words or saying the number. Let's look at our number here. We have our 0.125, and so the 0 here is in the ones place, Our 1 here is the first number to the right of the decimal point, and that is in the tenths place. 1 over 10, tenths place. The 2 here is our second digit to the right of the decimal, and that is in the hundredths place. 1 over 100, or 100ths place. Our third digit here, our 5, is in the thousandths place, or 1 over 1,000, in the thousandths place, as we move to the right of the decimal point. So if we want to look at the value of each number, or each digit in our decimal number, we are going to start with the 0. So let's look at our 0. Our 0 is in the ones place. And so we take our 0 and we multiply it by the place that it's in, and we end up with 0 times 1 equals 0. So the value here of this 0 is 0. If I look over here at my 1 is in the tenths place. And so the value of that is 1 times 1 over 10. And that then is 1/10, since it's in the tenths place. My 2 is in the hundredths place. And so to find the value of the 2 when we're looking at this in decimals, I'm going to multiply my 2 by 1 over 100, since it's in the hundredths place. And my value then is 2 hundredths. The 5 here, my 5 is in the thousandths place. And so to find the value of the 5, I multiply by 1 over 1,000. And I get 5 over 1,000, or 5 thousandths for my 5, the value of my 5. So if I were to put then together all these numbers, all these parts of this number, all these values, and look at what the value of my number is, then what I would be looking at is 0, we got 0 for this one, plus 1/10, plus 2 hundredths, plus 5 thousandths. And so decimals are read a little bit differently than whole numbers. So what we do with decimals is we focus just on the smallest decimal place. So in this case, I'm going to focus in on my 5 here, that's in my thousandths place. And what we do is we read the complete decimal number, the 125, as a whole number. So if this was a whole number, I would say 125. So I read this as a whole number, and then I add just the smallest decimal place value of thousandths. And so when I read this number, I say 125 thousandths. I need to make sure that I have this S at the end, thousandths. And if I were to write this out in words, I would write 125 thousandths. Thousand. And then a TH and an S on the end. So if I'm asked to write 0.125, this decimal, in words, it would look like this, 125 thousandths. So look carefully. This is called thousandths and not thousandth. In the same way, when we do our tenth, we don't say tenth, we say tenths. And same thing with hundredths. Make sure you have the S on the end, and we say 125 thousandths.